Fire up that grill and get that steak going. We're gonna make the most scrumptious and delicious grilled steak with charred pineapple jalapeno salsa. Hi guys, I'm Laura Vitale and I cannot wait to share this recipe with you today. It is so good. I've actually been making this since February. And if you follow me on Instagram, you will have seen it many times because I love this recipe. You can eat it with like a taco with tortillas. You can eat it as is. It's to die for, and I cannot wait to share with you. The first thing we're gonna work on is making the marinade for the steak. Truth be told, you can skip this step if you want to, if you're working really late, if you want to get this on the grill without actually having to give it a second thought. You can just salt, pepper the steak, throw it on the grill, make your salsa, you're good to go. However, the marinating makes a big difference and it is just so good. So let's get started. What I'm going to do right now is chop a few cloves of garlic. For the marinade, you're gonna need olive oil, Worcestershire sauce, Worcestershire, however you wanna call it. You'll need some light sodium soy. You will need apple cider vinegar. You will need lemon juice, and then you will need a combination of paprika, onion powder, garlic powder, seasoned salt of your choice, and a little bit of brown sugar. All of those things together, and black pepper. All of those things together will create the most glorious, sweet, not too sweet, but perfectly tangy and balanced marinade that is going to coat that steak and give it just the most wonderful flavor base before we even get going on making the salsa. But for now, we gotta get the steak going because it needs to marinate for a while. So, to the oil, add your garlic, add your soy, Worcestershire, cider vinegar. You need lemon juice. Get that in there. Add all your dry spices along with the brown sugar. Give everything a whisk just to combine. Now, when it comes to marinades, you want to make sure that whatever you're marinating it in a vessel, in a container. By the way, look at this beautiful flank steak. This is a 2-pound flank steak. The only drawback to flank steak sometimes is that the very ends are a little bit thinner than the center, which is actually fine if you've got people, that prefer the ends to be a little bit more cooked. This is a little bit of fat on this here. It's just a little fat cap. I'm leaving it on. I'm not even going to trim it. But what I was saying was, whatever the vessel is that you are marinating your meat in, make sure it's just big enough to hold everything together. Otherwise, if you're using a container that's way too big, what happens is the marinade sort of runs all over the place and it doesn't actually coat the meat itself. You see how this one is pretty much submerged in that marinade? And I'll come in here periodically over the next few hours and I'll just make sure to spoon some of this on the top here as well. But I really have no fear. It's going to be phenomenal. I'm going to cover this up. I like to let it marinate really no longer than like 6 hours because there's a lot of acid in here and I don't want it to actually cook the meat because it could do that. So I'm just going to leave it in here for like 2-3 hours depending on how my time goes today, and then we're going to grill it up and it's going to be pretty phenomenal. Alrighty, steak has been marinating for a while. I've got my char grill going. I've got some pineapple, peeled it, thickly sliced. Love it. Add it right to a really hot grill along with a red onion, some jalapenos, like that. And I like to put some limes on there as well. And I'm just gonna go ahead and let that really char and develop a really beautiful color because that's where you get a lot of flavor from. I love a gas grill for ease, right? Especially when you are cooking for a lot of people. It's just easy. It's something that you don't have to think about. It tells you what temperature it is, but nothing gives you flavor like a charcoal grill. If you want that really beautiful charred flavor, you gotta use a charcoal grill. And once in a while, with the help of my husband, I like to get it out because it just makes such a world of a difference. I want these to get really beautifully charred. I've got my steak out of the marinade. I'll talk you through what I did with the marinade later, but for now, I've got it here resting. I had it laying on some paper towels just to soak up any excess moisture. I'm just gonna let these cook and char, and I'll show you what they look like when they're done. Yes, honey, look at my veggies. Well, my pineapple, my onions, jalapenos, everything's there. Beautiful. This will only take a couple minutes per side. Make sure that your grill is screaming hot. Woo-wee, I'm gonna have to wash my hair tonight. It's fine, she's worth it. You hear the happy kid? Chickens are running around. You might see the pop their heads up, but I'm just gonna keep an eye on this. I'm gonna get a clean platter, wash my hands, and get it up. She's gorgeous. Look at that. Oh, beautiful. Now the center will be the part that's the least cooked, just because it's really thick in the center and it's thinner around the edges, which is perfect, especially if you are kind of like us. And I have a couple of friends that prefer a more well done side, which I'll give them the ends, and then the center will be for people like me who really like it a little bit more on the rare side. So I'm gonna grab everything, bring it inside, and get going on finishing this up. All right, taking my pineapple. On the pieces that are a little bit thinner, like this one, I keep the core intact because it gets a little tender when you grill it. It tastes delicious. But before I talk to you about that any further, I took the remaining of the marinade that was in the container with the steak. I placed it into this little pot. I'm gonna switch burner because I feel like that's, come on. I place it in this little pot with like a couple tablespoons of water. And what I'm gonna do is I'm going to bring that to a simmer and really reduce it down to get it a little bit thicker and reduce it and intensify that flavor, because you can use that to drizzle all over the top of the steak, and it's just absolutely phenomenal. So right now, this one's too thick, see that? So I'm gonna go ahead and just remove the core because that's just way too thick. So I'm just gonna take my pineapple and my onion and my jalapenos, and I'm just going to dice them. I'm not gonna peel the jalapenos, but you can if you want to. I'm not going to, but like I said, you can if you want to. So I'm gonna keep my eye on my sauce reducing, and then I'll show you the next step. Cilantro in. I ended up just chopping 2 of the jalapenos, and I took the seeds out because they were spicy. They were really, really spicy. A drizzle of honey from our local Harvey's Honey. Get it out of there. It's a little cold down here with the AC on, so. Uh-oh. Something just went missing. What could it be? What could it be? That's good enough. Good pinch of salt, because where there's sweetness, there should be saltiness and acid. When you grill your limes, you introduce some heat to them, they get really, really just beautifully juicy and soft, and that juice almost caramelizes a little bit. So now, let's give this a good toss. Look at those colors. Beautiful. If you had a Fresno chili, nice red Fresno, that would be beautiful in here. But, oh, that is perfect. That is literally perfect. Okay. My sauce coming along beautifully. It's thickening up. It's doing its thing. The salsa is to die for. I'm going to use the same board to cut my steak because why not? Flavor. It's been resting here. So, nice thick steak. Remember, the center will be more rare because that's how we like it, and the out edges would be a little more cooked. You see the grains running along here. When it comes to something like a skirt steak, or in this case a flank steak, which by the way, this recipe would be great for it with a skirt steak, you always want to cut against that grain, right? So the grain's running this way, so we want to cut against it, okay? And I like really nice thin pieces, thin slices. Look at that. Absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely magnificent. Oh my gosh, I can't resist this. Oh, wow. The flavor from the marinade is to die for. It is so tender. It is so beautifully flavored. I cannot even stand it. I'm just gonna go ahead and cut a few more slices. I'm not gonna cut all of it. I mean, it's just absolute sheer perfection. Absolute perfection. Your sauce has gotten really thick and syrupy. You can drizzle some on if you want. Serve it alongside. It's nice to drizzle a little bit on. It keeps the steak really moist, and it kind of introduces those familiar flavors back into your steak. Your salsa is so good. Personally, and this is just me speaking out loud here, okay? I'm just saying a nice little tortilla alongside for munching. A little avocado would be great, but all in all, this is so phenomenal. You take that lime, squeeze the whole thing, perfection. It is so phenomenal. It's so easy. You could double this up to feed a good amount of people in no extra sweat. I'm obsessed. Go to laurenkitchen.com. You will love this recipe. It will be on rotation the end of summer into fall, wherever your favorite grilling time of the year is. Around here we grill all year long because I'm the boss applesauce, and that's what we do. laurenkitchen.com has a recipe for you. It's a must make. I hope you enjoy spending time with me, and I will see you next time. I'm going in for another piece.